In this presentation, we will take a look at multiple choice questions related to CVP analysis or cost volume profit analysis, going through the questions and then practicing test taking skills with them. First question, a cost that includes both fixed and variable components: A, confused cost; B, frustrating cost; C, composite cost; D, curvilinear cost; and E, mixed cost. We'll go through this again and use the process of elimination. A cost that includes both fixed and variable components. A confused cost. It's kind of a confusing term. Doesn't sound like a term that we would typically use. I'm going to cross that out. B, a frustrating cost. Again, it could be frustrating. This kind of cost might be a little frustrating to us, but probably not the name of it. I'm going to cross that one out. C, composite cost. That sounds like a term that I've heard before, so maybe I'll keep composite cost. And D says curvilinear cost. That also sounds like a term that I've heard before, and it doesn't sound like a normal type of cost here, so maybe that one. And E says mixed cost. Again, that sounds like a term I've heard before between variable and fixed. So these three I've heard at least before, so I'll keep C, D, and E, go through it another time. A cost that includes both fixed and variable components, either C, composite cost; D, curvilinear cost; or E, mixed cost. Between these three, the composite cost is the one I've probably heard of less. That's when there's a different kind of mix. So I'm going to say it's not C, and then go down to D or E, curvilinear cost and mixed cost. Now, the reason these two are kind of confusing is because the curvilinear cost usually indicates a mixed cost. So notice you could say that both of these answers are right in some way. Say, well, a cost that includes both fixed and variable components. Well, a curvilinear cost, one that doesn't have a straight line, you would think has some kind of fixed and variable component to it. That's why it's not a straight line. There's some kind of variance possibly. That could be because there's some kind of fixed and variable component within it. But the more proper answer would be mixed, because we could have, and notice it's more proper because it's going to cover more scenarios when this is basically always true. In other words, a cost that includes fixed and variable components is mixed, whether it be curvilinear or in nature, or stepwise in nature, or just random kind of in nature type of format. And therefore, E is going to be the best answer, the most proper type of answer, even though an argument could be made that D is not entirely wrong. So it's one of those answers you got to choose the best type of answer. You can argue for D, but you're probably not going to win the argument, so you probably want to choose E as the best fit. Final answer, a cost that includes both fixed and variable components. E, mixed cost. Next question. Curvilinear costs always increase. A, with increase randomly. B, in constant relation to changes in production levels. C, when you least expect. D, when volume increases but at a non-constant rate. E, on a per unit basis when volume of activity goes down. Let's go through this again. Curvilinear costs always increase. Now, the curvilinear cost is a type of cost that's going to increase, but not at a constant rate typically. So if we go through this with that kind of in mind, A, with increase randomly. So increases randomly, doesn't sound quite right. I'm going to cross that out. B, in constant relation to changes in production level. It sounds kind of reasonable. I'll keep it for now. C, when you least expect. So they always increase when you least expect. That doesn't sound normal. D says when volume increases but at a non-constant rate. That sounds kind of reasonable. I'll keep that. E says on a per unit basis when volume of activity goes down. So it sounds like that could possibly be right. So I'll keep B, D, and E. We'll go through it again. Curvilinear costs always increase. B, in a constant relation to changes in production levels. Or D, when volume increases but at a non-constant rate. Or E, on a per unit basis when volume of activity goes down. Now notice E is saying when volume goes down, and that seems kind of unusual. You would think that it would be an increase in volume, so we would think that E probably wouldn't be it. And then we're between B and D, B in constant relation versus D when volume increases but at a non-constant rate. And you would think if it's curvilinear, it's not going to be constant because that means it's going to be linear and not curvilinear. So it wouldn't be B. We would consider D probably the correct answer. So final answer, curvilinear costs always increase, D, when volume increases but at a non-constant rate. So you're imagining that line going up, but it's a curve. It's not a straight line. It's curvilinear.